Okay, we had some big elections that have some big implications for us with our federal representation. Max, let's start with you. We've got a new senator.
Yes.
Junior senator, Mitt Romney, although it doesn't sound like a junior senator.
That is, especially when the senior senator is now Mike Lee. And nothing about Lee, but it's just that, Mike Lee's about my age, which I don't like to think is that.
For Orrin Hatch.
Exactly.
And now he's the senior senator, and Mitt Romney is the junior senator.
Junior senator.
I'm going to guess that Senator Lee points that out as much as humanly possible in the next few years.
I've heard it a time or two.
And you wonder if Lee, with this whole time, was saying, now that Orrin Hatch is retiring, I'll get the attention. And it's like, sorry, Mitt Romney is going to be the other senator now. But I do have to say, and before we talk about Mitt Romney, that one of the things that's always interesting, I think Mike Lee is a fascinating political animal, because he dances to his own drum, and so in the last couple of months, in this last year, he was one of the primary voices against U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen. That has become a big issue now with Khashoggi and getting more attention. But he's been on it for a long time, and criminal justice reform is getting a vote now, and he has been big on that. And in both cases, he is one of the few Republicans who's crossing the aisle with Democrats. It's Mike Lee and Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
So it's a fascinating thing.
Okay, Lisa, why so much influence right now, or interest from Senator Lee?
Matt said earlier that one of the things about the election was that we sort of forgot about Mitt Romney being on the ballot, right? I mean, we just decided once he got through that primary, well, probably even before that, that he was clearly going to win. He's very popular in Utah. He's a Republican. He ran for president. He was embraced as a favorite son here even before he lived here full time. But now the national attention is going to be on Romney. Even though, as you say, Senator Lee is doing all of these bipartisan big things, he's probably not getting the national attention for them that a Mitt Romney would. There's a lot of expectations on Romney, though, in terms of how he will deal with the Republican president, Donald Trump, whether he'll stand up as Arizona Senator Jeff Flake did and the late John McCain did, or whether we'll see more of what we saw during the campaign, which was not a lot about Trump unless there was a real concern, and then he would speak out in a very measured way online, usually.
Matt, how is Mitt Romney going to handle these statements from people saying, we're looking to you to be the check?
So the hard part is it's easy when you can do what he did in a campaign, which is release an essay when he feels like it, hold few news conferences. If you walk around the halls of the Senate, you're bombarded by reporters at all times. He's going to be asked every time the president says anything, what's the reaction? To a degree that people like Mike Lee are not. How he threads this needle is going to be one of the more interesting stories of 2019, but also just what the agenda is. Mike Lee votes against every budget bill that's not in regular order, which means every budget bill, because Congress can't get their act together when it comes to the budget. Well, we don't expect Mitt Romney to do that. They will probably be kind of like what we've seen with Orrin Hatch and Mike Lee, very different types of senators. We expect that. How they interplay and where they vote differently will be one of the more interesting stories as well.
And isn't it fascinating, too, that, it was when you had Romney McCain back in 2008, they didn't get along because they're very different personalities.
Yeah.
And Mitt Romney is more of an institutionalist. He's someone who holds back. He's reserved, and that's one of his really good qualities. Well, one of McCain's really good qualities is that he was not reserved, and so you could count on him to speak his mind that way. So now Romney's expected to be that maverick. I mean, all these people retiring now, you have Bob Corker and Jeff Flake and, people leaving the Senate. You mentioned in the halls of the Senate, Romney's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy that the Capitol reporters go to get the,
He's one
the
of the most
dissenting Republican.
high-profile senators. There's 100 of them, but there's very few that have the national cachet that Mitt Romney has.
Yeah, very few have run as their party's nominee for president, so.
Very good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.